Hello folks, and welcome to this, a very special edition of Paddock Pass. We're here at the headquarters of Formula One's newest team for an exclusive first look at what they will be bringing to the sport. It's always an exciting moment to welcome a new team onto the grid. However, what makes this occasion a little more special is how strikingly different the cars are this year. Yep, the long-awaited new regulations are finally here, and with them, the start of the next era of Formula One. The 2022 season ushers in a change of direction to the regulations aimed at promoting closer racing, with new aero additions in the form of swooping front and rear wings, along with the new eye-catching 18-inch low-profile tyres that will push tyre technology to the limit. So then, the question remains as to whether this team can grasp the opportunity before them with both hands and lead the charge against the rest of the paddock. We'll find out soon enough, as the new season is just about to begin. But first, let's see the unveiling of the team's car and meet the owner of the brand new Formula One team. Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting us here today. It's been wonderful to see behind the scenes. As you might expect, I've got about 1 million questions, so let's jump straight in.
Cheers, Will, but I'll do the talking from here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my F1 22 My Team career mode. Oh yes, it is good to be back, but I'm sure all 5 of you watching are wondering, well, how on earth did we get here already? Well, let me show you how. Welcome to My Team career mode, let's go! We have multiple starting points this year, from the very bottom to the very top, but I do like the bottom, so we are going for bottom. Shut up, don't you dare. We make life as difficult for ourselves as reasonably possible, and now everything's almost ready. We just need to look at our diff.
How dare you think so little of me, you insufferable sacks of
As you can see, we transcribe our name down into the box of the X, and we give ourselves an appropriate nickname. They call me the brunette bombshell in this neighbourhood, okay, so you can stop laughing. We sort out our race suit and our gloves and our helmet and whatever, mainly our race suit and our gloves, because the helmet designs are all shit. But we choose a black and purple and dark greyish combination. Looks pretty swish if I do say so myself. As you can see, many colours being applied. It's not very interesting now, is it? And we go through choosing ourselves a victory radio call, which is... No, you're joking. They put this in the...
Oh, peanut butter jelly!
Shut up.
Great. Now let's...
Shut up, Bozo! No one cares! It's going well. We are Ribena Racing. Look at all these sponsors, but we ain't no pussy, so we're gonna choose the best one. Time to choose a power unit, and we go for the Mercedes power unit in the back of our Ribena machine. And now we've got to choose our second driver. Oh my god, there's no way. There's no way we have found the man, the myth, the legend. Some christen him as the best driver you've never seen. And that's why we are going to choose him for my... Absolutely not. Also, I've been scrolling through these choices. Are you seriously telling me that Marino Sato is on the same level in any shape or form as Oscar Piastri? Codemasters, you are off your rocker. Anyway, those are all the options for... Yep, that is the name of the team. We can move on now. There we go. Can I just say as well, that car. Anyway, as you can see, there are loads of interesting paint jobs for us to choose from in order to create our Ribena Racer machine. I had a choice between 2 options. It was either this one, or it was the one next to it to the left, which is the one I ended up going for. There was only one colour really I could go for, that original Ribena tinge, that purple, and I combined it with black and a metallic grey. As you can see, this is the process of me creating it, a satin purple accompanied with purple and grey. It looks very nice. We also go about choosing our emblem. We choose this symbol because, I'm a child, and we use a tower shield background to accompany that. And after Ribena-izing the team colours, we are good to go. When it comes to answering Mr. Buxton's questions, it's exactly the same as in the 2 previous seasons. You say something good about a department, it gives you something nice in return, etc, etc. So we're going to get straight into the menus here, as you can see, all looking very nice indeed.
It's important to use the time between...
Shut up! We're looking at the facilities quickly, and we're going to get tactical with these in a little bit, but I'll explain that in a short while. We have Andrea here, who's the guy who won't shut his gob. I will make sure I deal with that with Gorilla Glue, personally. And we also have an email from IT, from Ruth Anyway, tactics. As you can see, we're going to marketing. We're buying activities management, because all activities we have will now have a further positive boost. In terms of our car, this is where we stand. We are like in the midfield for aerodynamics, which is not too bad. Could be worse, you know. We then move on to chassis, and it's a lot worse. I mean, we are in the mid pack, but like that is bad. We move on to power, and we actually have the 4th best power unit. That's pretty good. And it bodes well, because we need that explosive power for Bahrain. Into the contract side and into perks, because we're going to buy each of the perks for us to make sure we get more resource points, more acclaim, and make sure our engine doesn't wear, because we reduced all those things, if you remember. We've made life purposely very difficult for ourselves, so that's good fun. We have a department event where you can choose to either upgrade Oscar's pace or awareness. Oscar needs a fast car, and you can't have a fast car, so we might as well make him fast, which is going to make his car fast. I hope that made sense. This is a one-take job, but basically he's going to have even more pace, and I'm very scared now. We have resource points to bun, so let's bun them. As you can see, we have an engine power upgrade that we are looking at, and we do actually end up buying, because Australia this year, new layout, lends itself better to some engine power, I think, so that is what we're going to do. And we also bought ourselves a nice aerodynamics upgrade in preparation for the Bahrain Grand Prix, that you aren't seeing because I'm bad at YouTube. Anyway, upgrades aside, we move on to one more department event. We choose to upgrade Oscar's experience to give ourselves more resource points. And well, that's it. It's time for practice.
Ooh, hello there, handsome.
Hey mate, this is Mark. Just wanted to say thanks for trusting me as your race engineer. I won't let you down. The car's ready to go, but it's brand new of course, so there may be a few issues here and there. We'll be keeping a close eye on all the data from here.
No! Not Jet! Why did I have to get rid of Jet? No! Joking aside, great to have Mark as an engineer on the game. Not much has changed, just setups. But let's actually get out on track now.
Don't push the car just yet. Track is still green. Try to take it easy for the first couple of laps.
There it is. Our own creation, our own Formula 1 car. Out on the circuit after 2 days of development. Can you do it in 2 days? Well, you can now. We try and bite our way into the Bahraini bitumen, but our cold tyres are having none of it. They're sliding about all over the place and coming out of turn 2. I mean, scenes like this belong more on Dancing on Ice than an F1 22 video. Well, ladies and gents, here we are, coming along for our track acclimatization program, and as I'm sure you'll all be expecting me to say, absolutely nothing has changed with regards to the actual programs themselves. There's a nice little graphic at the top, which is quite helpful, as we have a massive snap of oversteer there, managed to catch it nicely. Down the straight we go. We got all perfect for this one. This program, though, is really annoying. Fuel management. Bearing in mind, I had the AI difficulty set on 98, and I could do race strategy, which we'll see in a moment, easily. Fuel management was ridiculous. It was like trying to be Michael Schumacher for an entire lap. I'm not Michael Schumacher. I'm a humble pleb, so that was not going to happen. But either way, we are in the green as we come up towards the hairpin. The target time should have been absolutely attainable as we lock up massively going to the hairpin, make a complete horse's arse of that. But race strategy, as you can see, absolutely nothing bad to report there. We absolutely smashed this one out of the park, using all of the track limit liberties where we could. Well, this corner in particular was actually my favourite corner anyway. I was going to say our favourite corner, not like you were there for the journey with me, but if you were, you would know. As we go through the last corner, it's smooth as you like. Traction is much more difficult in this game. as I'm sure you're all probably aware now after watching F1 videos for a long time. But yeah, that is the practice programs. We did insane tyre life. My only complaint really is the fuel management program. That graphic at the top is way too intrusive. Get it out of the way. Encouraging signs in practice, but we didn't complete all the objectives. Never fear, guys. Quick practice is here. Press buttons and do absolutely nothing and get everything in return. Yours for the humble price of £149,000 and 99 pence. Anyway, enough of that. We smashed practice. It's time for qualifying. Let's see how we go. By golly, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Bahrain Grand Prix. Well, qualifying at least. But we're on our way to turn 1 at a rapid rate of knots with our Mercedes power unit propelling us towards the point of the apex of turn 1. Sorry for your ears, I apologise. Turn 1 executed very nicely. Same thing for turn 2. We went out midway through when no one else was on track to have ample opportunity to get the best and cleanest lap in possible. We make our way to turn 3, braking at 100 metres. Cutting that apex nice and fine, not using all of the exit because the curves this year you can beach the car. We're 3 tenths down in sector 1. That's a worry. Never mind, I'm going to get my alarmed voice on here. This is an absolute worry here, and we've got to turn it around at a rapid rate of knots as we complete the end of the lap. I can't speak as we go across the lot. We're 19th. We're 19th, and I had to go into my settings and change my force feedback. But that's... oh, for God's sake, I really have no excuse now. Class on boy is ahead of us. I'm not having that, though. So we're out for another lap right at the end of the session. We are employing Guan Yu Zhou. I don't think I'm allowed to say that. We're employing his slipstream, is what I meant to say, in order to get the most out of our lap possible. Down the straight, we don't really gain that much time, but our turn 1 is a lot better. At the apex, we're already gaining a tenth of a second, and on the exit, we managed to hold that advantage slightly. Only 300ths gained, though. As you can see, we're slightly losing touch to him, and Carlos Sainz in a Ferrari is behind us. My wheel does that sometimes. You're going to have to bear with me. My brake pedal has got issues. Bless you, Carl. We're into the 3rd sector. Qualifying is complete, and we need to make the most of the remaining few corners of this lap. We are 2.5 tenths up, now slightly less than 2.5 tenths up, as I make a complete meal of the last corner. I am a bit hungry, actually, so it's very appropriate I said that. Anyway, the point is, we're going through the last corner, and we're going to gain even more time somehow, but lose time on the exit again, somehow. But we're 2 tenths up. It should be enough to get ourselves further up the grid. Is it enough? Oh, for God's sake. It's not gone well. That's probably the most obvious assessment you could ever find. Oh my... what the... Ignoring the rest of the grid for a second, our teammate has done us by 8 tenths of a second. For lack of a better term, that is embarrassing on our end. We should have done so much better, especially given our race strategy pace. I thought we would have had even more in the tank, but no. Oscar Piastri wringing the neck out of our car, adding a bit of zest to the Ribena Racing Academy. Absolutely floors the car onto P11. We are P19. We're floundering, quite frankly. We're ahead of only the 2 McLarens and Nicholas Litt. That's not really an achievement, though, actually. No offense, Nicholas, but, like, honestly, if I don't beat you, I might as well retire. Our race pace tends to be a lot better. The AI seem to be quite overpowered in qualifying as well, equally. But so far, all the encouragement has gone out of the window, but hopefully we can turn it around in the race. Just before the race, though, back in the paddock, and I want to check if the guy to my left has actually fixed the engine problems, because it has been 4 years of career mode, and it'd be really foolish if I look over to my left and he hasn't done anything about the red component. You clapped skunk, you absolute lemonhead.
Months of rumour and speculation all comes to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. Formula 1 returns to the desert today and this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, and it could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakhir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Russell, Sir Lewis Hamilton and Bottas. Leclerc, Mick Schumacher, Ocon and Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Joe, Kevin Magnussen and Albon, Stroll, Gasly, Sebastian Vettel and Yuki Tsunoda, Bombshell, Norris, Ricciardo and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
So here we are then, race strategy for the race. Not the greatest qualifying from us you've ever seen, but it's going to be a one-stop strategy. Mediums onto hards, and that's the race. However, the tyre wear is a lot more severe this year, and the traction is a lot more difficult this year. So we have to be on our tiptoes and on our forefingers to make sure that we are steering and accelerating as precisely and as smoothly as possible. Tyre warm-up is also absolutely crucial. So that's what we're going to make sure we make the most of on this lap as we carry on following Yuki Tsunoda out of the third sector, as you can see, weaving about. Oh no! Oh dear me! We have absolutely bottled that. We got off like a spinning top there, and that is very, very embarrassing. However, you know I said tyre warm-up was important. That's right, I've tricked you all, because I meant to do that absolutely. Little do you know that that was the key to warming up our tyres to the absolute maximum. And as we come up to the grid, yes, the others might have done it more cleanly, but I firstly included a pirouette, and secondly, I have much, much warmer rubber. And the good thing about the formation lap this year is you can manually park in your spot. So we're going to make sure we try and get a purple score. We go around Ricciardo, and it is purple. Nice one. So here we go. 2 lights out, and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. The first race of our career mode, and it is an absolutely sumptuous start. Past 3 cars already on launch, and up into turn 1, braking nice and early so we don't slice our front wing off into Saudi Arabia, but choosing the outside line. We go round the outside of Stroll and Albon. Meanwhile, Magnussen and Guan Yu Zhou fighting, and as I say we shouldn't hit anyone, I career into Magnussen, so that's a great start. But the party doesn't end there, as Magnussen is going back for another move on Guan Yu Zhou, the young Chinese rookie. Gasly's up the inside, out of nowhere. The AI love doing a little dive bomb. Cheeky diving down the inside.
Careful.
Zhou and Magnussen still side by side as we go through the left-hander. I have to back off a little bit, and that invites Stroll now up the inside into the hairpin, and I'm not really doing much to defend from him other than getting good traction off the exit, and we do keep P14 for now. What a fall from grace from F1 2020, where we were fighting near the fringes of the top 10. Gasly and Stroll through the hairpin, nothing of avail there. English is a language I do speak, I promise. Crossing over onto lap 2, though, we are nearly a second ahead of Stroll, which is good news. The bad news is we are nearly a second behind Magnussen. But that's okay, we'll make up that time into turn 1, as you can see on the braking. Our teammate is just there, by the way. In his first ever F1 weekend, having never driven an F1 car before, King Oscar is in P10 and fighting for points. This is insane because our car feels like a canoe. It's actually that embarrassing in the corners as we beach our car over the curb like an absolute rookie. That is how easy it is now to get it all absolutely, completely wrong and make an absolute fool of ourselves. As Stroll now goes round the outside, our car feels like it has so much drag, but we do get on the brakes later and we do hold P14. But this is worrying. But I do smell blood in the water. And let me explain why, because the gap is there, and I am ready to send it down the inside of Magnussen. He was holding me up. I had no time. That train I was about to catch, you know the philosophy about the train you might catch? I was going to miss it. I had no time to lose. Down the inside of Magnussen, P13, when we get after the Alfa Romeo and the Alpine, who are being held up quite a lot by my teammate. He's not too far off Mick Schumacher in the other Haas, but as you can see, onto lap 4, Ocon dives down the inside with the assistance of DRS. Piastri defends for all his worth, gets a little bit of a loosey-goosey exit out of turn 2, and now Zhou is all over the back of him. In fact, not all over the back of him, because he's had enough of sniffing his rear end, and he's going to get out of the wheel tracks and have a little slide, but Piastri combats that brilliantly with great traction and defends absolutely superbly. I mean, to be fair, there's no other word for it. It was absolutely sublime. But that could be the chance for points over us. Ocon, we'll see how fast he gets away. But the Alpine this year, very, very quick car. Best of the rest, mind you, if I'm not mistaken. So now with DRS, Gasly's right there. That's a problem. The Frenchman has got past the Canadian, and he's going to go on the brakes, diving down the inside. He clubs our side pod, and that's not good news. I'm surprised he doesn't have damage. We do hold P13, but he's getting a bit too saucy for my liking. Lap 6, and it's very much the same old story. Piastri and Guan Yu Zhou going at it there. Gasly sticking his nose where it definitely shouldn't be, as he manages to actually get the traction, and he has the power to get through, and he will dive it down the inside, but we are wise to it this time. We are cleverer, we are smarterer, and we hold P13. I thought the gap was there on the outside as well to take the Chinese driver ahead, but not to be, as Gasly nearly gets us again. It's not good news, but again, Piastri's just defending superbly well as we head on to lap 7. Zhou again, side by side with our young teammate, but again, can't get past Oscar Piastri. A brilliant defensive jobby from my teammate as Zhou tries to go around the outside into turn 3. Piastri again with the traction, but this time Zhou manages to get the line. They're going to remain side by side. Gasly's pit for some reason, I've no idea why, but that's not important. He squeezed out Piastri as Guan Yu Zhou, and we're going to go around the outside of him and maybe Guan Yu Zhou, but that's not the case. Zhou manages to get the traction off of the corner, and he's in P10 now. That's very interesting. So suddenly, this got personal. This means points, and points mean prizes, as we do get DRS. We are going to employ his slipstream once again. I am wiser to my vocabulary this time. But we are absolutely gobbling it up like a turkey, but it's not to be. We don't have the straight line speed currently. It is P11, but hopefully we can get him soon. Not gonna lie, I didn't specify how soon was. But we're on to lap 9, and we are in the DRS at least, and we are getting pulled away from our teammate as a result of Guan Yu Zhou, who in the corners doesn't have the pace over us thanks to our slightly improved downforce. But in the straight line, I have no pace over him whatsoever. So it's just a job of being good on the brakes and good in the corners. As we head on to lap number 13, and we have now extended the gap to 2.8 seconds. Our pit window is now open, and our pace has been pretty good. But these tyres are feeling pretty good, and if Zhou decides to come in on this lap, we might as well stay out because the overcut has been proven to be super powerful on most tracks this year. So whatever Zhou does at the end of this lap, best believe I will be doing exactly the opposite. What's Guan Yu Zhou doing? He's pitting. We're staying out, that means. Hopefully now the overcut can work its magic. We're not too far off at our personal best, but now another dilemma comes in as we come through the middle sector. Firstly, Charles Leclerc's come out in the pits, and he's going to be all over the back of us very soon. Or not! Leclerc's made a mistake, and he's absolutely overcooked that to bits. Unbelievable. He's absolutely casseroled his strategy there. But as we go through the hairpin, what if our teammate pits on this lap? We then need to stay out and do an extra lap, and our tyres still aren't feeling that bad, but we don't want to be holding up our teammate, who might well have the pace over us in the second stint. So as we come on to the end of the lap, is Piastri pitting? Yes, he is. So we go on for another lap, and hopefully this overcut can work its magic. The news gets even better as George Russell on cold hards came out of the pits and gave us DRS on this mini straight here, which is fantastic stuff. And as we come on to the end of the lap, it was Pastry on the last lap. It's manager Mr. Ribena on this lap. We slow down for the pit lane speed limit a bit early. Maybe could have gained a couple more tenths on that. But as we come up to our pit box, we have another new feature. You can park them on the grid. You can also press a button in this quick time-ish kind of thing in order to get the optimal pit stop. Haven't quite worked out what the optimal timing is, but we do get a good pit stop at least. It's a decent stop from the Ribena boys. Good job. And now Mr. Ribena can hopefully get out of the pits. But ahead of Guan Yu, where is Guan Yu Zhou? Oh my god, he's right there. This is going to be so close, and we have to try and defend from him, hopefully, on cold tyres. And we go on the brakes, and there is absolutely no grip at all. Zhou turns in, and we have damage. That is damage. Zhou turned in like we weren't even there. He should have been aware, in theory, that we had colder tyres. I should have been aware that he was there also. We do have DRS, but this is terrible news.
Okay, the underbody's taken some damage. You might start to notice it soon. Tyre condition still looking good.
Well, this has somersaulted the complexion of the race. It has spun it through 720 degrees and left it dazed and confused. Guan Yu Zhou turned into us at the first corner after we came out of the pits on cold tyres. And we now have floor damage on lap 60. I can't read that, I'm sorry. You try being a chameleon. into the hairpin. Joe's looking ever more menacing though as we go through the hairpin. Underbody damage combined with cold tyres, and we're slipping and sliding on the exit. It's like dancing on ice all over again, this. But we've compromised Joe's exit so much so our teammates attacking him, and that is absolutely ideal. Joe goes for the dive. We cut him off at the apex. We need to try and stay ahead of him if there's any chance of getting points in this race. Through the right-hander, we do have the tyres up to temperature, but Joe gets a great run and dives down the inside. We can't squeeze him enough there. We have to leave the door open. He was more than halfway alongside us, and we decide to let it go because hopefully with DRS we can get past, but our DRS hasn't proved to be so strong as our teammate is now attacking us. What are you doing, Oscar? We can't be having that. That was my chance to get him, and we've compromised our exit as a result. Sonoda's overtaken Pastry, and it's all gone from bad to worse. Our DRS is not going to get past Guan Yu Zhou. Well, I say our DRS, it's the talent of the driver as well. I can't just all put it down to the rear wing. Well, maybe I can to some extent. But, unfortunately, we do remain in P11, and there goes the Alfa Romeo. I can't believe that. All he had to do was wait for one more corner. And now Piastri's all over the back of us on lap 18. We go through the hairpin, and there's a yellow. He's not on the back of us anymore. Oh my goodness, he's beached himself on the curb. And I think Stroll partially did as well, because he's been done by Norris as well. Suddenly it's us versus a McLaren. Our teammate has gone from fighting on the fringes of the points to now down in about P16 or 17. And it's an utterly catastrophic showing. As we go through the hairpin again, Norris in DRS now, as we have another yellow flag on the next lap, and Norris has gone off. So unbelievably, in 2 laps, 2 drivers have beached themselves on the same curb, and we have been given 2 lifelines, and now it's Lance Stroll. And we have dealt with this clown before, this Canadian clown, and we know exactly what we need to do, because he can't drive. So all we need to do is drive better than him, and that's not difficult. As we come on to lap 20, we are still well out of DRS range. Life looks good. Can confirm life still looks great here until 2 corners later, and he's now in DRS. Great. Stroll is right on us now as we go in towards the hairpin. There's only half a second in between us as we go through the hairpin, and he doesn't beach himself on the curb, so maybe he isn't such a clown after all. He's done better than Norris and my teammate have done, that's for certain. But with DRS, he luckily can't get anywhere near us, or not anywhere near enough. That would be threatening. So as we go through the corner, we managed to gain about 2 tenths on him with a tiny bit of a snap of oversteer. But we do manage to hold that gap, which is good news. And on this corner here, which is my favourite corner as I said before, he can't get anywhere near. We are a cruise missile, and he is a wrist rocket. Shut up. Luckily, as the lap has gone on... Oh, it's not lucky. That's not lucky at all. Magnussen is now going to be all over the back of us with his Ferrari-powered Haas. We go through the... No, you're joking. Magnussen's done it as well. Suddenly Piastri, who was like P16, is now back up into P13 and pursuing Lance Stroll. Ribena Racing, the race is on. Lap 25, and we've gained even more time on Stroll. We are 1.8 seconds ahead, well out of his DRS, and it's 100% talent because the car is built like a f***ing man. As we nearly cross over onto lap 26 though, we are well out of DRS as I said, and we've just got to keep being awesome, essentially, keep driving at the pace we're going. Another best lap. Piastri's going to go for Stroll's position. 11th and 12th in our first race would be great, considering that this car handles like a cricket. Now with 3 laps to go in this race, Piastri has passed Stroll. Fantastic news. I'm checking Zhou's progress because he's a cheating nonce. But Piastri's passed Stroll, and so has Lando Norris. So this could get interesting. On to the last lap of the race. Max Verstappen has already won the Bahrain Grand Prix. As we are only just circumnavigating the middle sector, we get a proper swapper out of the right-hander. And that's a worry. Piastri now in our DRS range as we come out of the hairpin. He's not going out of the hairpin. He's gone off. And so's Norris. Both of them off of the track. Here's a replay of what happened. He just turned out of the steering briefly for whatever reason. And Norris just being himself, really, by going off the circuit. That was a bit harsh, actually, wasn't it? Forget I said that. A shame that our teammate couldn't just make it through one bloody corner without beaching the car on the curb again. All the pace, yet still a bad race. But for us, despite the floor damage, we're going to make the most of it. P11.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Brilliant effort from the whole team. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Nice cutscenes, am I right? Can you stop now? Can you stop? Hello?
Well, let's discuss, and who would you say is a contender for your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Bombshell.
Yes! Come on! Yes! I deserve this! Driver of the day, or 1 point? I think I've won that in my book. The rivalry already brewing up with Guan Yu Zhou, though. Very interesting. We'll get him next time. I can assure you that much. But for now, P11, the best we could have done, really, given the floor damage that he gave to us. Hamilton and Ricciardo, the DNFs for this race, both Mercedes power units, which is a worry, but luckily, both myself and Pastry avoided it. Alpine with a fantastic result. They're going to be almost untouchable the entire season. But there's not really much to talk about on my end. The traction was very, very, very difficult. Driving with floor damage was really unnerving. I had no confidence in the car whatsoever. But that's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. You can't have it all your way. And sometimes you've got to learn the hard way that racing isn't fair. And today it wasn't fair. Our penis-based Ribena team is up to level 3 in terms of acclaim now in other news, so that's fantastic. While we're here, a quick word about my teammate, though. His qualifying was absolutely excellent, but his race was one to forget, realistically. However, Saudi Arabia next. If you've seen that track before, you know anything can happen at that circuit. It's an absolute car crash at the best of times. And minefield. Also, I'm glad you like my new logo, my new piece of artwork in the background there. What can I say? I do art in my spare time. I call this one being sick all over my screen after a race. That's enough my team, though, for today. Next up will be the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. As I said before, anything can happen. Until then, I provide you with utmost gratitude for watching this video. If you enjoyed said video, please smash like and subscribe if you haven't already. And comment down below with your favourite breed of parakeet. Till next time, I bid you farewell. Goodbye.